Today we're in Turkey and we're in the stunning city of Istanbul.
This Istanbul series is all about showing you some of the best food this city has to offer. Istanbul's food culture is reflective of its past and draws influence from each region of Turkey. If you love to eat, this city is one that keeps on giving. This is our first video from Istanbul and we're travelling all over the city to bring you the best local food. We eat succulent lamb kebabs from a gigantic spit, take you into the kitchen for some of the city's best pide, and visit a shop which has been serving a Turkish specialty since 1876. In this 4-part series, we're hunting down Istanbul's tastiest food, from unusual dishes to local favourites. You don't want to miss this series. Get ready for some mouth-watering food.
I'm Thomas.
And I'm Sheena, and we're chasing a plate.
We hope you're hungry. Let's eat.
We're over on the European side of Istanbul in a suburb called Fatih, which is the historical district, and it's also probably the most conservative part of the city. It's where the Grand Bazaar and the Egyptian market are, and I suppose if you're a traveller to the city, it's probably one of the first places that you think to visit. There's tons and tons of really interesting local scenes around here. It's really buzzy. There are loads and loads of lanes to explore, and this is how we found our first stop. We are coming to eat pide, which is one of our most favourite things to eat when we're in this city. Pide is a flatbread which is baked in an oven and it's covered with all sorts of toppings. Bir kavurmalı and kaşarlı, and this pide restaurant is awesome because they've got this amazing open kitchen, so you can get right up close and see how the pide is being made. The pide master is just kneading the dough, and it is so soft looking and really pliable. What he does, he just stretches it out, he puts the topping over the top, and then he folds the edges so it creates like a boat shape, and then it goes into that really hot oven. It's a wood-fired oven, and there is so much heat coming from that thing. This pide restaurant has been around since 1960, so these guys really know what they're doing, and we love this place. It's a really casual restaurant, really simple, but the food is top notch. So let me show you what we ordered. This here is the Trabzon pide. Trabzon is a city in the northeast of Turkey, and it's a round pide. It's got a peynir, which is a hard white cheese, and then we've added an egg on top. Look at that wobble. And then this one here is the kavurmalı and kaşarlı pide. So kavurmalı is this meat here, so it's like a comfy meat, and kaşarlı is cheese. So you can see that the shape of this pide is different. It's like a boat shaped. And what is extra special about this pide is that the edges are really crisp. They lavished some butter over the top of the edges, and it's just really crisped up and golden. This egg is calling to me, so I have got to get into this one first. Alright, so he added the egg sort of halfway through the cooking process to let it sort of just set, but you can see that there is a big wobble on there, so it's only maybe half cooked, but that means it's perfect for dunking. And oh goodness, I've lost all my cheese, so let's just roll that up. Whoa, whoa, look at that, so good. Wow. So it's literally just cheese and egg, but the cheese has a really strong flavour. It's a sharp, salty flavour. It's a hard white cheese, and it's pretty rich. But what's even stronger in flavour is that melted butter that he sort of sloshed all over the top of the edge. It's got a really strong flavour, and then that egg is just the icing on the cake.
This pide is much more the shape that you'll normally see here in Istanbul. So they're normally this boat shape with the edges folded up. And there are a lot of pide restaurants here in Istanbul, but this one really stood out to us when we were doing our research for this series, because the dough, the bread is so beautiful, really light and that beautiful crunch on the outside. So this one with the meat and cheese, I'll get this bit here because there's lots of meat on it. So it's lamb and it's cooked in its own fat, so you can see just beautiful little chunks of lamb. And then the cheese mixture has some parsley cut up into it, and I'm not sure if some chilies or just some pepper. It looks like little bits of red chili actually hiding in there. Wow, the meat is such a strong flavor. So because it's little bits, it's not minced, it's cooked in its own fat, so cooked confit style, and it's very robust in flavor, so really, really beautiful. You can get another bit with a bit less meat actually, and a bit more of the cheese mixture. Really good. Oh, that's a more balanced mouthful, so not so much meat there. So you get the beautiful flavor of the cheese. It's a really nice, plain but quite salty cheese. It goes so well with that meat when there's not so much meat. So you got a really bold flavor of the meat, nice saltiness of the cheese. The parsley and the chilies, I'm not really getting much from that. Definitely no spice from the chili. The bread is so soft, just a beautiful little crispiness on the outside and super pillowy on the inside. It's a really good pide.
To wash down my pide, I have got a shalgam. Shalgam is a fermented purple carrot drink, and it's made also with bulgur, which is cracked wheat. Oh, it's like a really strong vegetable juice. This one is a little bit spicy as well, so it's really packing a flavor punch, but it's great because it cuts through the richness of the cheesy pide. Thomas and I are really drawn to heritage restaurants or places with a bit of a history, so sometimes they can be decades or even centuries old. First of all, because often these types of places are doing one thing, serving one thing, and that means if they've been serving this one item of food for so long, usually you got to think it's going to be pretty good. Secondly, they have lots of history, and that means lots of stories. So our next spot is a place that's been around since 1876, and they serve a famous Turkish drink called Boza. Alright, so the Boza is already poured and all set up, and you just help yourself to a glass. I love the feel of this place. You've got these marble top tables, there's tiled walls, and there's even a glass up there which apparently Ataturk drank from. So Ataturk was the founder and first president of modern day Turkey, and it's said that he drank his Boza here. So this is Boza. Boza is a really traditional sort of winter drink, but at this place they serve it all year round, and it's really thick. It's made from fermented bulgur and sugar and water, and then they've just sprinkled some cinnamon over the top, so it's super fragrant. So you get a spoon with it, so I suppose you just sort of dig in with the spoon. Let's give it a taste. Whoa, it's super thick, and it's really sweet, a little bit sour and tangy from the fermentedness, I suppose, of it. It's delicious. It's like eating a lemony dessert. It is so beautiful. And look at the texture, really thick and very creamy. I can't get over the tanginess of it. So it's literally just got water, sugar, and then the bulgur, but the fermentation process has created this really sour taste. So it tastes like lemon, even though it doesn't have lemon in it. It's incredible. This drink has been around since the 10th century, but it was banned in the 1600s because it got so boozy, so the fermentation process made it really alcohol-y. Alcohol-y, is that even a word? Boozy. But then it came back into fashion later on, and it became a really popular drink amongst the soldiers and the Ottoman sultans. I can see why, it's amazing.
There's a really neat way to see the passing of time in this restaurant. The floor below me is completely worn out, so there's a walkway coming in from the door to the main counter, so you can see where thousands and thousands, probably hundreds, millions even, of feet have come in over the years. We're in the heart of the old town now, heading for our next stop. This place is full of life. Actually, where we are now, it's not that busy. There's plenty of room here. Normally you are shoulder to shoulder with the next person. It's an amazing place, lots to see. There is lots to eat here as well, actually. So most of the food we're eating today is centered all around this part of town. But it's very easy to get away from what you're seeing now, this absolute craziness. It's easy to get off the beaten path and find some real gems.
Merhaba.
Merhaba.
This is our second Istanbul series, and this time round we wanted to show you some different dishes. So we are going to share with you the Pide Kebab. This kebab looks insanely good.
It looks so good. Yeah, it looks super good. I'm up watching them cooking it at the moment. So the kebab is massive. They've got a fresh one on there, and it's really interesting how this meat gets cooked. So it gets cut onto a little skewer, which is really unusual. And also, normally when you think of a kebab here, it's like a doner style kebab, which is the other way around. This one lies flat. Look at what he's cutting. How good does that look? Thank you, Abi. These kebabs look really, really good. So I really like this style where they cut it very, very thin. And this is a lamb kebab, so you've got some beautiful, nice fatty bits from the lamb. So then they're taking it and they're putting it on the grill. So they're putting it on hot charcoals and just turning it a few times. So getting it really nice and caramelized, and that smoke's coming up through the meat. So you've got those two stages of cooking, which is really neat. So it's served with lavash, which is this really thin bread. So you've just got a big pile of that on your plate. And this little salad we've got to go with it. So this is tomatoes, chilies, pomegranate, molasses, and there's a whole lot of parsley in there too. You can see the little flecks of parsley. And we've got some onions, so just some raw onion with some sumac sprinkled all over the top. Let's get some of this lamb meat off. So we'll just get a bit of lavash. I want to just rip some off the end. Oh, it just comes off really easy, and it's juicy. I can just see the juice squirting out of it, and we'll get some of that salad on there as well. So just pile it up with that. Oh, the meat, so good. Also the salad, it's got a beautiful burst of chili, so sweetness and spice from the tomatoes and then from the chilies goes so well with the meat. The fat on the lamb is really good. My skewers got taken away because I'd let them go cold. And they've been reloaded with meat, so I think they put them back on the grill to warm them up for me. Because while we're doing all the filming, things go a little bit cold sometimes. So let's get some more of this lavash. That's a terrible bit of bread. Hang on. Let's get a nice big bit of lavash. Some nice hot lamb. And this time, I just want to have the meat and the bread. Really simple in its flavor. So the lamb is the hero. So it tastes like a great home-cooked roast leg of lamb. Beautiful amount of fat versus meat. great flavour. That is really good, and definitely that has just come straight off the charcoal, so that's boiling hot. So the fat in the lamb is still really juicy. Oh, check it out. Oh, absolutely tight. Amazing. They've just brought over some more again. So this once again is super fresh, and it's just covered in fat. You can see all this shiny fat on there. Let's get some more of that lamb off the skewer, and I really love the style of cooking onto these skewers. It's really neat. Normally it's just a pile of meat on the plate. So we're going to go with some onions and some of this sumac this time. So some nice big bits of fresh onion. The onion goes very well with the lamb, so you've still got a real burst of flavour from the lamb. With the salad, I found that the spice from the chilies and the sweetness from the pomegranate molasses and the tomatoes was a little bit too strong, so it took away that flavour from the lamb a bit much. But with the onions, it is absolutely perfect. For our next stop, we get to do one of the great things about Istanbul. So because the city is separated over 2 continents, we're on the European side at the moment, but it's separated by the Bosphorus Strait, which is a big body of water, to Asia. So we're heading over to the Asian side, and to do that you get to go on a ferry ride, which is stunning. This is a very, very pretty city. So as well as having really good food, it has a beautiful skyline.
On the Asian side of town, and the suburb is called Kadikoy. It's actually where our Airbnb is, so we're very familiar with this part of town. It feels completely different to where we just were. There are a lot of newer modern eateries and shops and whatnot, but there's also a lot of older, more traditional places, so you get that dichotomy. It's really buzzy, a great energy. Now after all of that food, we really need something to help us digest it all, so we're off for some pickles. This tertiary or pickle shop is right in the heart of the market. This is our grocer actually, so that's why the guys are yelling out to us. So right in the heart of the market in Kadikoy, and this place is so colourful. There's so much produce, fresh seafood, meat, everything that you could possibly want. But the pickle shop is just up ahead. Now pickles are a very important part of Turkish cuisine. In most restaurants when you sit down to a meal, there'll be a jar of pickles, often pickled chilies, or you'll get a plate of pickles with your meal. We're just here to grab a tursu, which is a pickle juice. In most marketplaces in Istanbul, there'll be a pickle shop. This particular pickle shop has been around since 1935, so ages. People come in here and they buy bags of pickles to take home. There's some spices, there's all sorts of sauces, and honestly, every type of vegetable imaginable has been pickled. We have ordered 2 cups of pickle juice with pickles inside as well. So we've got some beetroot, a gherkin, there's a slice of carrot, there's some cabbage, and I think this here is a plum. Alright, let's give it a taste. Oh, it's super strong. Very vinegary, quite sour, and very salty. Oh, it's delicious. Let's give this chunk of beetroot a go. Oh, it's very, very vinegary, but very soft. It's delicious.
Such an interesting shop. The pickle juice packs a real punch, and I love all the colourful pickles in here. And there's some very interesting pickles. I can see bananas, I can see mandarins, eggs, whole corn cobs, some really neat stuff. This is a really cool shop.
We're there.
Oh, try it fresh.